Welcome to the MSP Corner podcast, led by our CEO, Fernando Leon, and co founder and CEO of our MSSP, Gregory Morowitz. Each week, the MSP Corner is committed to delivering critical information for the IT service firm industry. We will discuss proven strategies for marketing, attracting an audience, how to become the influencer for an industry, selling value, scaling your IT service business, and building a sustainable IT service firm. Hello, welcome to show number 2 on our podcast. My name is Fernando Leon, and today Gregory and I will be talking about transitioning from break fix to the MSP model and why break fix firms need to seriously consider the break fix model. But first, let me just give you guys a quick summary on the MSP Corner. We've developed a platform that's going to provide IT service firms with a lot of information, and a lot of you need to learn how to sell value. And we're going to be providing you with framework on how to do that. Selling value, not technology, from positioning yourself from just a vendor to positioning yourself as a partner, a value added partner. And that's really critical if you want to increase your close. Now, marketing. Marketing is a topic that is, well, not very popular with MSPs. You guys don't like marketing because it's very difficult. Well, we're going to provide you with framework on what works and well, we'll talk about what doesn't work. So let's talk about strategy. We'll be talking about strategies such as SEO, online marketing, PPC, LinkedIn, email marketing, and what uh, what it takes to have a successful campaign. Webinars are a definite must if you plan on having a successful marketing campaign. So, scaling. Some of you have challenges with your scaling. You're just sick and tired of interviewing and vetting, scaling potential employees. So, building and managing teams can be very frustrating. So, we want to provide you guys with resources so you don't have those headaches. You don't have those management challenges because there are quality partners out there in the US that will provide you guys with 24 by 7 help desk, 24 by 7 knock, even a 24 by 7 sock. So stay tuned. We'll be adding partners as we go along this journey together. So now templates. Templates are going to be critical to your MSP. Why? Because your templates are going to, well, let's start with the contract. Your contract is going to protect you from abusive clients. So there's clearly spelled out definitions and parameters of what you're going to deliver. The contract is one piece of a puzzle, but there's going to be lots of templates in there. You want to present yourself professional. So, what do we have? We have proposals, we have collateral. So, you are presenting your organization and positioning yourself as a professional. So, keep that in mind. Now, resources. We're going to have lots of resources, and I mentioned that yes, scaling is a challenge for many of you, but the other resources in there will be tech stacks, tools for you guys to consider and read about because we have vetted our partners. We have been in the MSP industry for 20 years, so we know what works. We know which PSA and RMM and SIM and EDR tools you guys should be using. So stay tuned. Lots of information will be posted on our website. So let's get this podcast started because today we're going to be talking about why the break fix IT firms need to transition to the MSP services. And let me introduce Gregory. He's one of the co-founders of the MSP Corner, and he's going to be giving some input on, transitioning the ideal client because there's not ideal clients, and then there's ideal clients. So let's talk about the ideal client, because you guys are providing them with tech support, the break fix reactive model. We want to transition them to the MSP model, the proactive, the preventative model that will make you guys more profitable, and you will have less headaches. Who wants to have an angry client because the network went down? You want to be able to predict issues before they become disruptive. And how do you do that? Well, the MSP model does that. Break fix firms are waiting for problems to happen. That's how you guys make money. You are trading hours for money, and we need to get you out of that mindset. You need to start researching and studying the MSP model, because the fixed cost model is not only going to make you profitable, it's also going to make you look like the hero with your clients. You don't want your clients to have problems. They don't want to call in for support. They avoid support like the plague. So you're going to do everything you can to transition break fix clients to the MSP model. So let's talk about the ideal client. And so, Gregory, we were just discussing the topics. So what you were mentioning the analysis with an ideal client. So let's first talk about the size of a client. You were mentioning that a 20 end user client is ideal for this type of model. Is that correct?
Yeah, a client with enough customers, enough end users where you have the ability to spread your monthly bills over across them all. Like if you have one client and they call you every week and you have to spend an hour to 2 hours per customer, it's not going to make any sense to you because you're going to have to spend, maybe $30 to $50 an hour on a technician supporting them for an hour. For 4 hours, you're going to spend $200. You're gonna end up losing money. But if you have 20 customers and only one or two or three call you, then you're going to end up. That's where your profit is the fact that you have a bulk of users. So after like around 19 users to 20 users, you start to see profits.
So when you have it, let's take a small business that has a small footprint. Some of these businesses don't even need servers, so all they have is computers, maybe a firewall, and SaaS products. How much of an analysis, how deep of an analysis do you need to provide these small organizations? Is it really complex? I mean, how deep are you going to go? Are you going to analyze every computer? What software licenses, what versions are running? I mean, how deep do you go with these analysis?
Well, you know, most companies aren't super complex, and if you've been around long enough, you can pretty much see. But you're right. There are startups that really are heavily relying on apps, and SaaS apps don't require a lot of support because they're run by their own, companies. So your analysis isn't really going to be that deep. Doesn't even really have to go that far. But if you're going to go into a manufacturing facility that doesn't rely on a lot of SaaS products and applications, then you're going to have to do a thorough analysis of that environment. So there's two heads to the coin. There's low computer based organizations, and there's high yield computer based organizations. There's low SaaS products, and then there's high groups that have their own apps in house on their own servers. So you're going to have to do a thorough analysis to discover what customer you have.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Okay. So these organizations, like a 20-person office, easy to maintain, easy to I mean, 20-person offices don't have lots of problems. So this is going to be very low-hanging fruit for these guys who can easily convert these organizations to an MSP model. But what's going to be key, because clients are always looking to save a buck, but we want to position these break fix firms from an add value proposition. So when you don't have monitoring, you're not monitoring servers, you're not monitoring firewalls and preventing, catastrophes from happening. Where's the value proposition for a 20-person office that is doesn't isn't heavily reliant on servers.
The value proposition for them is that they get out of paying for like a catastrophe by doing a fixed cost. So if you have somebody whose computer melts down on them, they don't have to pay for 20 or 30 hours of support that they might have to have paid if you weren't taking care of them, if you weren't doing imaging, if you weren't backing them up, if you weren't having spares and stuff like that. There's things that the things that'll avert disaster for you. So they your presence there, you setting them up properly will avoid the fact that they need to spend, 20 hours of somebody's time rebuilding the CEO's computer or an engineer's computer that might have a ton of apps, settings, files that are missing that need to be restored from a backup, etc.
So that's a good point of yeah, a 20-person office definitely has to have some type of backup solution in place, something that could be restored in the event there is a disaster or somebody downloads ransomware. But you're right, the managed IT service model would prevent them from having to pay uh, hours of support to get them back online. But isn't patch management part of the MSP model where you are automating patching and updates so there aren't any security concerns? Is that correct?
You're patching really to keep abreast of what's going on out in the wild. So you're going to patch. I mean, normally a person doesn't automatically patch their computer, or if they do have that setting turned on, then they're going to be okay pretty much moving forward. But if you run into a person that has turned it off because they don't like it rebooting their machines, you could run into a multiple hour situation where you have to spend, like I said, 8 hours, 6 hours working on someone's computer, getting them up to the latest version of patches. So, your best practice methodologies as an MSP, as someone doing a fixed cost model, you're going to want to patch your customer's environment regularly so that you don't run into these windows of time where you have to spend 4, 6, 8 hours upgrading and updating all these apps and OSs and pieces of hardware and getting them all and then troubleshooting them afterwards. Those hours can pile up if you aren't preventative. So yeah, patching is key, but it's not as important as all the other things. Like you said, backup's way more important than patching. Imaging and the ability to recover from a down machine is way more important than patching, because you can always just rebuild a new machine up to the latest version far faster than you can troubleshoot patches and stuff. So there's a lot of things that go into it.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So my question to you though is with the ideal client for the MSP model, what kind of information do you want to compile to build a case? Because some of these guys, like I said, they want to keep IT costs to a minimum. And if you've been supporting them for the past year, you're going to, I would think, provide them with an overview, a comprehensive overview, at least a report as to look, this is how many tickets were opened last year. This is how much you spent and this is how much downtime you had. If we migrate you over to the MSP model, we'll prevent 90% of these problems and your cost is going to go down by hopefully he's not a low maintenance client. You could determine that maybe you'll save them 20-30%, right? So what are we missing here besides annual overhead, downtime, and a comprehensive plan to say, look, you spent 100K last year. The MSP model is proactive, will prevent problems from happening, will reduce your ticket count, will reduce downtime. We guarantee response times and everything is done at a fixed cost. I mean, there's so many upsides to the MSP model, but am I missing anything? Am I leaving anything out that a break fix firm needs to consider when they're meeting with their client?
Well, you are. You can have these statistics and you can have all of these different numbers that you show your customer. They're going to be wary of you and wary of what you're trying to do to try to get them to move over to this model. They're going to wonder why, because they don't trust you, or so you have to have some sort of concept of how to sell, how to approach the customer, what that you need to do, presentations, and you need to have quotes and stuff like that. You need to have this underlying baseline of good selling capabilities, because I could just come to you and say, well, you need to lose weight because you're fat. I mean, that doesn't help me at all. And if you
Yeah,
just look at your weight on the scale, you got to come with a lot of stuff, and that's where you come in a lot more than an IT person with the salesperson. You have all these tools in your pocket that set customers at ease, versus just an IT guy going, your server environment is overtaxed, you need to scale. They're gonna be like, "What are you talking about? I don't know what you're saying. You're not making any sense to me." So when you come in there and you go, "Here's a proposal. Here's a spend from last year. Here's my proposal. Here, look at the numbers. Here's the all the different pieces of information you need. And here's a quote. And here's a contract. You need that. That is the most important part here. Showing
yeah,
somebody that they're spending too much money. Anybody who owns a Land Rover will tell you they've spent too much money on their car, but they've obviously been sold. It's been sold to them on some level. So yeah,
sure,
selling.
sure, sure. No, I get it. I get it. It's just that I think that, yeah, you're right. Focusing too much on overhead can take away from the value proposition of, like, look, we want to prevent problems from happening, and this is what we propose, right? So I want to stick more to the value proposition than having to focus more on what their savings is. So, but I get it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Selling
Yeah.
your salesmanship in those scenarios is what I've met dozens, maybe hundreds of customers where I've gone there and explained to them that what they need to do. And if I don't have a proposal, if I don't have a quote, if I don't have, even sometimes if I don't have like technical spec documents, they won't
Mhm.
even listen to me. They just don't believe me. They don't believe they think I'm trying to sell them something that they already have, or I'm trying to get money out of them, that they don't realize I'm there to actually save them money, because my profits are easier in the MSP than it is with the break fix, because it's
Sure.
unpredictable in the break fix model.
Well,
They
there's
don't
the
understand that.
yeah, no, the break fix model just is really designed to build frustration, right? I mean, you're easily, if you want to have a short-term relationship with an organization, stick with the break fix model, because they're eventually going to get frustrated, angry, and someone is going to bend their ear one day and say, "Look, you're working with a break fix firm. Oh my God, we can prevent fires from happening. Your current IT firm is waiting for the building to burn down, and once it burns down to the floor, you're going to be out of, your doors are going to be closed for X amount of hours. So until they rebuild that network. So what we want to do is prevent that network from burning down and addressing issues before they have before they disrupt your organization. So it's just a matter of time. And these break fix firms, they either are nervous to embrace the model, they're nervous on the fixed cost model because they don't know what to charge. They don't know what if they're going to lose money. And I get it. No, nobody wants to lose money. Nobody wants to give away services. And a lot of these guys are under the impression that, IT support, fixed costs, all you can eat. This does not include projects. Get that out of your head, because projects are completely there. It's what we call a scope of work, or a change order, right? Because maintenance and service are not projects. So you need, if you are nervous about things like that, you need to have an agreement, which we happen to have on our website, that protects you from these type of abusive clients. Because yes, there are abusive clients out there. We've had them. We've had to include language in our agreements so We avoid these abusive clients. So, but these are easy solutions to solve. But what I'm trying to get at and trying to convey to the audience is break fix is a dying model. You need to transition to the MSP model because that's where the value proposition is. So we've hit a lot of points on the ideal client. What about the not ideal client, Gregory? I mean, I have my
Yeah, I
my
find that
thoughts on
people
that. What
yeah, I find that small customers, 5 or 10 or less, are horrible. I find that, if a customer uh, is using their own money, they're paying you with their own checks, I find that those customers are horrible because they're actually seeing their own funds leave their bank account versus the company paying you from a company bank account where it has expenses and rent and payroll and all that stuff. And so when you run into a person that's seeing money leave their account, they tend to be the worst kind of customers, and those are, tradespeople especially. They're bad customers. Customers that can't be convinced that they need to have backup or new equipment or hardware. Or we've seen this hundreds of times where people will spend money on chairs versus servers.
Yep.
And if they're doing that and you see these illogical moves that they're making, then it's not going to get any better. You can't change people, people have to change themselves. So you're just never going to get to the point where you're going to convince somebody that they need to buy equipment or hardware or software to make their lives better. They just aren't going to see it. Someone else has to do it and show them, look what I did. I saved all this money by doing X, and then they'll believe it. They
Yep.
just will not believe it. So individuals who have their own money and small businesses are the worst customers.
Yep. Yep. No, I believe it. I believe it. Yeah, no, I also feel like clients that don't spend much on IT or clients that don't find value in IT. They're extending the life of their hardware. They're trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. They're okay with a Band-Aid plan, right? They don't want to have an actual solution. They just want you to come up with a temporary solution so they can limp along for another few months, right? Until the bleeding begins again. So I think clients that don't see value in IT, who don't want to do upgrades, who just don't find value in IT, they're just bad clients. And would encourage these guys to fire them. First, you need to build up your client base, your portfolio of clients. And then, I was reading an article on a break fix firm that transitioned to the MSP model, and the only thing he felt sorry about, or the only no, he said he had one regret. His one regret was he held on to his break fix clients too long. He should have fired them long before he even before he just didn't he just would have preferred to have fired them when he started offering the managed service solutions. So and which is a lot of these guys they're like, oh, I want to it's generating income. Yeah, but it's also taking up a lot of your time, and it causes more headaches, causes more stress. And yeah, it's break fix clients are just a big bummer in my book. And I hate to see that model being embraced by new techie guys coming into the business because there's just no value in the break fix model.
Well,
So,
there are scenarios where the break fix model is somewhat okay, like for stores or something where they might have so many stores in their portfolio that you don't really need to have, their numbers are so high, but we're probably not going to get there. But there are points in time when break fix makes sense. But the bad side of break fix, the worst part of it, is that you don't have you can have not predict what's going to occur. So if there's 10 of your customers are break fix and
mhm,
all of a sudden all 10 of them go down, because of bad luck for you, then you have to spread your resources out. You have to pick and choose who you're going to support. But if you've been proactively supporting them and you're monitoring them and you're doing backups and there's a catastrophe, not as many of them that are going to go down. So that means your resources aren't going to be taxed to the limit. So the unpredictability of break fix is the worst part. So you don't want to be in a situation where you have 11 customers down and 4 technicians.
Yep.
You can't send enough to go
Yep.
fix them all, and then they're going to hate you for that, and you're
Yep.
going to lose them.
Yep. Yep. Nope. Nope. I know it. I know it. That was the highlights for our show today. I don't have anything else I want to share, but do you have anything else you want to share, or should we
No,
just wrap this up?
wrap it up.
Okay. Well, thanks guys for listening. We'll be back next week with a new show. Have a good night. Thanks for listening. If you have not joined the MSP Corner, go to mspcorner.com.